All right. If you hang out with us long enough, you know a couple things. You've seen those BAM guys submission flyers and everything that Toya and I and Jen have all been putting out. Well, submissions are closed. And that's kind of sad for me because I was just like enjoying watching them going through the submission process. I always like to see growth. I always like to see things of that nature. I like to see people transition and become better as time goes on. I like to watch the evolution of things. I like to watch things from its beginning to its middle and eventually to its conclusion. And Jen and Toya are a long way from that. They got a long way to go in this thing. Bam Woman magazine is worldwide. And then we as guys started getting on their nerves a little bit. We as guys started asking them questions like, what about BAM guys? What about us? When y'all gonna talk about us? When do we get some shine? But you know how guys are. Guys don't do what they're supposed to. They don't submit things when they're supposed to. They don't call you back when they say they are. You don't answer the emails. They can't send the fax. So that's been working them a whole lot. So I said, how can I be a blessing to them? And if it was nothing else other than taking some of the weight off of them so they can then continue to exceed in their platform, I'll go ahead and do that. But let me just say, as a BAM guy, I'm proud of Toya and I'm proud of Jen because BAM Woman magazine is worldwide. And I'm expecting some huge things from BAM guy. A magazine that they give me a lot of credit for helping them with, and I don't think I do as much as they say I do. The credit all goes to them. The second issue, if you're interested, is already live. You can go ahead and download that. I suggest that you download that. If not, we'll release a robot dog to come and attack you. That's Precious Thornton on the cover. And as we move into the first issue of BAM Guy magazine, I got the cover guy here. Then again, I don't know if that's appropriate. Do guys want to be called cover guys? We'll ask him. Welcome to BAM Guy magazine for a live interview, man. And when I say live, I mean that not just visually, I mean that live in the sense of an adjective. This is going to be live here. Welcome to the broadcast. Corry Smith, how you doing there, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Everything's great, man. I'm so excited about having you on here, man. I don't even know where to start. I could begin with what you have going on. I could begin with what you've accomplished. You and I were kind of joking before we went live that I've actually been paying attention to yourself for a while. I just didn't know it was you. So for the benefit of those who don't know who you are, just go ahead and introduce yourself.
So I'm Corry Smith, a little boy from Tyler, Texas. Not too country, but on the countryside, in the city side. Moved into Houston, Texas about 3 years ago. Everything's been great ever since I touched down in Houston, Texas. So many opportunities. And I've just enjoyed it all. I've been able to start my business, multiple businesses over the past year or so, and everything has been flourishing and been able to help people out what I do.
How do you feel about the term cover guy?
The term cover guy, I don't know. I wouldn't
think it's a bad thing.
I wouldn't think it's a bad thing either.
And we say that because, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who don't know, you're looking at the cover of the BAM Guy magazine, and I'm a tad jealous. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like, I'm just a little bit jealous. Like, I've helped put magazines together. I've helped build magazines. I've written articles of magazines. I ain't never been on the cover of one. So how's that feel?
Man, it's crazy when they reached out to me and said, Corry, we want you to be the cover of a magazine. Because I had just been issued in two other magazines before all of this. I was issued in the If magazine, the If International of Houston magazine, which is all around the world. And I've been in another I was in another issue with the same magazine. So it's when they told me to be on the cover, it was most definitely a way different feeling of just feeling like, okay, you don't have to go look for my page within the magazine because I'll be on the front cover of the magazine. Mm-hmm. So it was just a whole different type of hype behind it. I'm actually excited. The photos came out really dope. So I'm just really excited just to see the final product and just go from there. I expect to, for the BAM Guy magazine to flourish, and I also expect myself to flourish from this opportunity.
I guess cover guy's dope, man. And congratulations on everything. I think when I think cover guy, I start thinking about commercials, and I start thinking about what the girls are doing and things of that nature and stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's not. I think it's kind of weird because we don't see it very often. It's not. Right. It's not something that we say. It's always cover girl or you know, if there is a guy, it's never a guy alone or anything like that and stuff. So I just yeah, I don't think it's too bad, honestly. It's just something that we got to get used to, of being able to be exposed as men, and as being able to be exposed as men on the front cover, and just a, you know, I wouldn't say more so of a middle class type of thing, because thinking about like Michael B. Jordan being on a cover guy, and when he did the coach and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure they talked about to use the term cover guy as well. So yeah, we just something that we're not used to.
Well, prepare for the haters, man, because whenever you do something that everybody else ain't doing, they're gonna get a little upset out there. But I'm pretty sure you're probably used to that by now. For those that don't know you, you say you're from Houston?
No, from Tyler, Texas.
Tyler, Texas, and you moved to Houston.
Houston 3 years ago.
It's a beautiful city, man. Beautiful city.
Oh, I love Houston. I think Houston is most definitely home. I've been able to travel to a lot of other places when I moved to Houston. So, but every time after the third day in those cities, I'd be like, ugh, I'm ready to get back to Houston, Texas.
I went there. The first time I went there was probably right around, I want to say that was 1998. And I fell in love with the city. It was just like the first experience I had with being somewhere, and it didn't look like everywhere else you had already been. I've been on cruises, man, and they told us we went to like 3 different islands, and every island we went to looked like the last island we just got finished leaving.
Right.
I've been to cities all over the country. Houston structurally was different. It just looked like the sun was shining a little bit brighter. But I'll be honest with you too, it's kind of hard to focus. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of things to get into. They got those beautiful melanin masterpieces walking around. Like, how do you stay focused in a city like Houston?
Yeah, it's I feel as though it's something that's kind of raised, and something that was installed in me, because being in Tyler, Texas, I mean, being anywhere, honestly, you have so many distractions. You might not have the same type of distractions, but you still have somewhat of distractions and stuff like that. So I've always been a go-getter, starting high school, graduated at the age of 17, graduated early in high school, came to Houston, Texas at the age of 17 by myself and stuff like that. So I've always kind of just been that type of being able to go get what's mine, and, you know, being able to just kind of have that balance between, I know when to have fun, I know how much to have fun, but I also know how to handle business on the other side.
Now you get there at 17. Are you just looking for a change of scenery, or are you thinking business at 17? You're doing something.
I'm thinking business at 17, honestly. I'm thinking about what can I do within this city. I've never really lived in the city before. So I'm just like, I heard so many opportunities that come from the city. So I moved to Houston and stuff, just expecting to grow. I moved to Houston to go to University of Houston. So that's where I'm still enrolled. Be graduating this December. But yeah, came for school, and I just knew it was a very diverse place, and I just always I'm a very people's person, so diversity was most definitely something that I had latched on to and really looked up to. So that's kind of what made me just move into Houston and just start from there.
Were you there post flood, or was the flood before you arrived?
The flood was before I arrived.
Okay. And what was the challenges of trying to navigate through the city as they were trying to repair itself?
It was, first of all, we have one of the best mayors. That's what I have to say. Mayor Sylvester Turner.
Right.
We have one of the best mayors. So I feel as though he's been able to, starting with the winter storm we just went through, starting with COVID, starting with the hurricane that came through here. He's very on top of things. His whole cabinet and staff has been very adamant about getting stuff started, getting it fixed. So one thing that we kind of suffer here in Houston are the roads, but we really haven't been able to pay attention to those because of these type of incidents that really have taken our attention away from those type of things. But they've been able to honestly focus and get things done quickly, and honestly just put Houston back together and go from there. So I think that's one of the major pluses that we have here in Houston, which is great leadership.
Great. I'll back you up a little bit. Okay, so I think we started you at 17. So younger version, Corry Smith. Who is that guy? Like, what is he into? Is he playing Sega, Genesis, Nintendo? What's he doing?
I've never been into. Being raised in Tyler, Texas, so I went to White House, Texas, for my middle school up until my, I think the first, no, up middle school to high school. Then I went to John Tyler, my high school, and then graduated from John Tyler in 3 years. I was the head drum major at John Tyler High School. Spoke at the graduation, spoke at every graduation that I graduated from. Spoke at my middle school, and also spoke at my high school graduation and stuff. So I've always, like I said, I've always been that go-getter. I've always been that voice for my type of generation, just being able to be a gap standard between the young generation and also the older generation, because I was raised with more so my grandmother, my parents and stuff around my parents, and just that type of atmosphere is kind of like a old traditional type of atmosphere. So like I said, I've got that older feel of me, and I also got the newer school of me, and I kind of just been that gap standard between those two generations. So going from middle school to high school, very big transition, because White House, Texas, very predominantly white, and then going from there then to John Tyler High School was predominantly black. So I kind of it gave us opportunities, because I got to see how to handle both sides of the sticks. I've got, just how to handle situations when you're dealing with some white supremacists and stuff like that, going to White House, Texas, and then also dealing with African Americans and dealing with laziness and just using excuses and stuff to not be able to excel in themselves. So I kind of, like I said, got both ends of the stick, which really helped me see both sides of the story, and it kind of molded me into the person I am today. And from there, I've been able to, move to Houston, Texas, and yeah, it's genuinely been a great experience overall.
The high school experience sounds pretty cool and everything too, especially as a drum major. Like that's like a whole nother animal. That's like being a quarterback when you walk around the high school sometimes. So we talking about traditional marching band, or we talking about FAMU?
FAMU, most definitely. we had fun on the field. We had fun. We did battle of the bands and everything. And we had some fun. We did have to go to UIL, do our little traditional stuff that we had to do since we were in an independent school district. But other than that, we went to battle of the bands and stuff. We did parade marches, and yeah, we were just, in Tyler, Texas, everybody talks about John Tyler High School band, when they come through dancing and all of that.
Now, defend it for me, because a lot of people will sit there and say, like, when we start talking about that style of marching band, they're so busy dancing, they're not playing anything. Like, what do you say to that argument?
We have training from about a month and a half before school starts. So from that training, we are running. We are literally working on breathing exercises, because honestly, we do have to play and dance. And that is people say band is not a sport, but band is a sport. I'm telling you now, band is genuinely a sport. Being able to march and play and dance and play is an exercise within itself.
Band guys are athletes. I had to respect NASCAR guys later, because I was like, they just making left turns for like 4 hours, man. They're athletes. Bands are athletes. Band is definitely a sport. I wasn't sure about cheerleading. I always felt like cheerleading was something you had to have a more important sport going on in order to have cheerleading.
Yeah. I honestly, I think just if you exercise and if you pushing yourself to do something, to execute something, I feel like it could kind of be something. It could be a sport or a hobby or something, something like that. You're just not bouncing the ball. You're just not throwing the football or hitting the ball. It's just more so in a different aspect.
Fair enough.
Dancing I feel like dancing and screaming at the top of your lungs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a strain right there. That's an exercise.
Yeah. Good point. All right. So when does jsmithmedia.com come into the focus? When is that become an idea?
So J Smith cologne, his and hers cologne came into effect first.
The cologne was first.
The cologne was before the media. So moving in high school, I created my sister's prom dress, and I created my prom suit, and we won best dress at the prom. Did not expect that to happen. Genuinely did not expect that to happen, because I did some crazy stuff to get our fits together and stuff like that. So it was an experience. So I always wanted to do clothes and fashion and stuff. So I really wanted to start right there. But knew I did not. Making my sister's prom dress and making my suit was one of the most tedious experiences that I've ever been through. It took a toll on the whole family, honestly, because they would feel my frustration and they would have to make it work, and they would have to come up with a solution to allow me not to be frustrated and stuff. So I did not want to create my clothes. I didn't want to make my clothes. I just wanted to design the clothes. So
Mhm.
one thing about designing clothes and stuff like that, it is hard to find a seamstress, like somebody that just makes clothes. It's hard, and once you find them, they're so expensive. Start making a suit, it's gonna cost you about $2,000 and stuff like that. So that's just money I kind of did not have and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, let me find something. Let me find an alternate to maybe I can start and then go into fashion or whatever. So that's when my cologne and perfume had came into play. Woke up 5 a.m. June in the summer of June, and I literally was like, okay, let me create my own perfume. So within that day, I literally started calling manufacturers all over the world, and I had came in contact with a manufacturer and a chemist that actually created perfumes and scents and stuff like that. So got on the phone with him, went through all the clinical stuff, the program that has to happen before, and we just started creating from there. It took about maybe a month or so to come up with the exact smells that I wanted for the cologne and perfume. But after that month or so, everything started rolling, and started playing, started coming into fruition. And last December, I was able to release it, and it has been it's really sold out and stuff like that, which I did not expect it to sell out, because going into this industry, I really did not sell out. I really did not plan to sell out. I really just wanted to see how this entrepreneur world was, and just how it all works, how advertising works, how branding works, and stuff like that. Because working for when I moved to Houston, I worked for the city of Houston, a media publication, and we're kind of contracted through the city of Houston and also in many other vendors around the world. And I've been able to be in the face of so many Lynn Whitfield, Robin Gibbons, all of a lot of elite people, and I honestly wanted to find something that was going to advertise, that was going to kind of speak for myself, and I could bring those to the table. And when I bring it to the table, they'll ask what this about, and I will never talk about the product. I will always talk about myself. Like maybe
Mhm.
I'll talk about the product for a split second, but I never wanted that product to speak for me. So I always snuck in and just told my whole story and stuff like that. And it has been that cologne and perfume has literally put me in doors that I did not expect myself to be in, and has put my name on pedestals that I didn't expect it to be in. I'm on the front cover of a magazine, been in two magazines. I've been on, I think I've had like maybe 10 television interviews and stuff from the cologne and perfume. So I really have to give all glory to God, honestly, because didn't expect it to go this way, honestly. But
Mhm.
just with the connections and just with the experience that I had beforehand, I it literally went from here to all the way to the top just within a few months.
I mean, you mastered the sales process because sales is exactly what you just said it is. Sales is just selling yourself. Like,
Right.
I've had way too many sales jobs. I've done so many things. I've sold everything from home improvement to life insurance.
Yeah.
I sold magazines. I've done it all. And there's always, when you enter the sales process, they always have like this categorized formula for how they want you to do it.
Hmm.
And it always has like some weird name, normally like this ugly acronym. And they're like, okay, step one is this, you do this, and then when this happens, this such and such happens and everything. And that never works. And I never was good at that because I always ended up talking about, like you said, everything except the product.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So just continue in the path that you're on, and I don't see where you're going to have any issues. But I got a question. So I don't know anything about what you do,
Mhm.
other than the fact that if I was to design clothing, it would probably start with maybe a sketch here or there. Once you get past that, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
So kind of walk me through the process of, how you're putting pieces together and things of that nature.
My clothing line that I'm gonna get ready to start in a couple of years. I really think I want it to be more so about bringing the old to a new standard. And I think, and that was something that I really took from my life experience. Just being able to walk into places and look at people and look at their personalities and be like, okay, I see this that I want to take from here. I see this that I want to take from him. I see this that I want to take from her. And being able to bring it together and create a whole new product. And that's what I did with my cologne. That's what I'm going to do with my clothes. Like my cologne, I took a lot of colognes and just kind of made it into a whole nother cologne. And that's what life is all about, being able to look into other people and just take those certain aspects and those certain aspirations that you like and that you see for yourself, and being able to bring it to life or bring it up to a different standard. So again, my clothes, it's not really anything that and I design my clothes, it's not really something that I would call is just new, but it's more so of me just adding on different type of things. So once you design clothes, you always, like I said, the hard part is finding somebody to make it and bring it to life. That is one of the most hardest things, because a lot of these manufacturers and a lot of these people that design clothes are already in contract with other designers and stuff like that. So they really don't have time for other designers and stuff like that, other like new designers to come in. So it's kind of hard just getting that process. But once you design the clothes, you kind of really find somebody that's going to make it, find the fabric that you like, the material that you like, and get all those pieces together, and you pretty much good once you find somebody to make it.
Why clothes and not what so many black people love? Hot top tennis, athletic shoes.
I don't.
We always looking for that athletic shoe and things of that nature and stuff. And suits is another one. A lot of guys like putting suits together and things of that nature and stuff, which I'm sure is something that
I love it. And that's what I want my clothing line to be. I want it to be. It's gonna be more so elegant business, dressy type of style, because I feel as though a lot of my generation don't dress up because it's too expensive and it's not accessible. And some people are just not trained to be that way. But living here in Houston, I've always, sometimes I would just dress up, and you will see how you're treated different when you dress up or when you make yourself look like somebody. You'll see just like how people have more respect for you, which it should not be like that.
Mhm.
But that's
But
just
it's
how
real.
that's
It's
just how the
real.
world is. Because
Mhm.
we look at people and we all we not I wouldn't don't want to say judge, but we kind of come up with a theme in our mind and how they are and how they perceive themselves to be. So me being able to just dress up in suits and change something from $100 suit to make it look like $1,000 suit, when really this suit came out to be $200, is something that I've always kind of been into and been able to show ever since I was a little kid and stuff like that. So with me dressing up here in Houston, like I said, it's put me in places that I did not think I was going to be invited to, being able to be near some historic people, some memorable people, some legends all over the world and stuff. And they looked at me as like I was one of them, just because I looked like somebody. So within my clothing line, I want to give that to others, being able to my generation, give those type of fashion statements, being able to let them purchase suits at a lower price, being able to purchase dresses, being able to purchase gown wear if you're going to a ball and stuff. I want to be able to let that be accessible for them to, express themselves in a different way, not just streetwear, because I know a lot of people sell streetwear clothes. Like there's always brands that's coming out with streetwear t-shirts and stuff like that. But I just feel as though, there's a certain time for streetwear, whereas there's a certain time for you to look like somebody and look like, you own the place and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what I want the clothing line, and that's what I was looking for within my cologne and perfume, is to being able to walk in a room and change the whole atmosphere. And with my cologne and perfumes and stuff like that, make you feel confident within yourself.
I don't want to call them. I don't want to call them gimmicks. Like more like a niche. So Derek Kahn, who passed, he was branded with that ghetto fabulous thing. He was the one that sat there and said, "I'm gonna take Mary J. Blige and I'm gonna put it in like a baseball jersey, put salt and pepper into these types of things and stuff like that." Um, his life ended tragically and things of that nature. But we'll always remember Ghetto Fabulous and we'll think about Derek Kahn.
Right.
And then we think about FUBU, we thought more urban. We thought about Jordan, we thought about athletic gear and things of that nature. So I don't want to call them gimmicks, but there's certain things that we just attach with like certain with certain brands or certain clothing or things of that nature. So if someone to sit there and tell me Corry Smith created the J. Smith collection, and that's what would that be?
Ooh, what would that be?
I know you kind of said, is it business casual?
It wouldn't even be. I want it to be. When people think of J. Smith, I want them to think, I want them to think, oh my goodness. That's a hard question. I would want them to think more so,
because I look at, elegant is good. And elegant. I see that from you. And I sit there and I looked at the J. Smith collection website, man, and I'm sitting here watching commercials like I'm watching a movie. Like the presentation is cool. Like everything is dope and stuff, man. And I started thinking about it. I was like, I go back and I think about, I'm a little bit more old school to you. So I go back and I think about Jodeci videos, and these dudes had on leather in the desert. Like I'm gonna shoot you that video if you've never seen it. Okay. Jodeci got on leather in the desert. Mary J. Blige, instead of making her look like Whitney Houston and making her look like Toni Braxton, they made her look like a homegirl we had up the street. And then she eventually became the diva later, but she was the hip hop diva.
Right.
And then you think about Jordan, it's like, yo, I'm standing in line for an hour to get some shoes that I can't even fit in, that make my feet hurt. Mm-hmm. And then I thought about that. So I would say when I look at you, I see these are some classy young folk, man. Mm-hmm. Like I'm just looking at stuff and I'm like, they're younger than I am, but they're so damn cool, man.
Right.
they just seem smarter than people their age. They seem more mature than people their age. They feel like I'm looking at this like, I wonder where they at. Like, what did they have going on? So I think that's where I'm at with it. I don't know if you would agree with that, but
no, most definitely. I just like I said, it's all about how you present yourself. People, my grandfather always tell me, sometimes you have to look as if you want to own something. Sometimes you have to look dressed up to par to walk into certain type of places and stuff. So I've always just had that type of mindset to where, what am I giving today? What is this outfit giving today? Is it giving brunch? Is it giving breakfast? Is it giving work vibes? Like I always just have that motive behind everything. Like even my colognes. I have my colognes to where, okay, this is my gala cologne. This is my brunch cologne. This is my breakfast cologne. I just have those type of categories because, like I said, you just want to your personality is not going to always speak for you, and your only thing that speaks for you. The first thing that speaks for you is your appearance. So you always got to make sure you're giving off the right notion and stuff like that. And that's why working for the city of Houston and stuff, we when I go to certain type of events, if I'm going to a Republican event, I know not to wear blue, like because I know that's just gonna throw it off. Because Republicans wear red, so I would more so tie in red or something like that. Even if we're going to a funeral, what do Black people wear? Black, because we have put that notion behind it, like Black is just a color that we wear to funerals. So that's kind of just how I look at certain situations and stuff like that. When it comes to clothes, cologne and stuff, starting from glasses, earrings, all of that.
That's wisdom, man. That's knowledge.
Yes.
So let's transition into jsmithmedia.com. And I know that consists of a lot of things. I mean, young people with e-blasts, press releases, social media, publications, advertising. You do it all. Is there one thing that you feel like you're probably better at than something else?
Branding. I started my cologne and stuff. I literally taught myself how to brand and how to actually market and stuff like that. So coming out with this cologne, I've been able to help other people start their businesses and put them in contact with the right people and get them in magazines and stuff. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this cologne and stuff was literally a push for me to help others and make money off of it. Because I mean, other people do, why not?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is J Smith Media is just all about branding other people's businesses, starting from um, e-blast, starting from media. I'm actually working on getting a billboard here in Houston, Texas. I'm getting ready to finalize it soon, but I want to be able to put my people, my generation on those type, because we don't get those opportunities. And so I want to be able to give those, like this whole J Smith Media. I don't want any
Mm-hmm.
big people. And I told myself that when I started, I don't want anybody that has good money. I want people that are coming up in my age, millennials that really don't get those opportunities, haven't been taught and how to brand and stuff. Because a lot of these young people start businesses, but there's so much more to just starting a business. There's legal stuff that you have to get into as well, like LLCs, buying your name and stuff like that. But I want to be able to teach that to people my age and allow them to actually legit own a business and be able to say this is mine, and like not let other people take their stuff and then they get into fight. I want to be able to allow them to be able to sue and let the government talk for them, and not just let them not let their attitudes talk for them.
That's a great goal and wonderful vision and everything. Here's where your problem's gonna come in. It's gonna be hard to hide that from the big people because big people don't have imagination. I don't know if you figured this out yet. Those young, hungry people are the ones that have the imagination, and the people with money come steal it from them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they burn that bridge because they don't realize I'm gonna need this person for another idea in about a couple of years.
Yeah.
But it's normally those smaller companies and those independent labels, and then it's those majors that look at the independents like, okay, what are the streets really looking for real,
Right.
and everything. So it's gonna be hard to hide yourself, but excellent vision.
Yeah, no, I most definitely look. I'm not turning down any money. No,
No, don't do that.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not turning down no money. So if you come with the money, most definitely you are my client.
Right.
But I really want to. But my main focus is to just help people out with businesses, because I know so many businesses, or Black-owned businesses, that are only advertised through social media and stuff like that. But I want to be able to give them the platform to be advertised in magazines, be advertised on billboards, be advertised in e-blast, be advertised on, these big platforms where the big people are. And they'll be able to contact these little, not small, but more so upcoming businesses and stuff. Because that's like you just said, there's so many great ideas that we have, but we have just not been given the opportunity and been able to be seen to even get to the next step. And so that's what my whole media platform is about, just helping out people, honestly, and giving them the platform to show what they have.
Sounds like a basic question everybody should know the answer to, but they don't. What exactly is an e-blast and a press release?
So e-blast is, if you sign up for, well, first of all, when you go shop at Sephora or something like that, they always ask you for your email or whatever. So when they ask you for your email, you're actually being entered into their e-blast. And an e-blast is pretty much a whole list of contact names and contact lists, pretty much all emails. Sometimes they ask for numbers, but it's really just emails. And from there, people buy into those e-blasts for their advertised to go to that list that you have. So I own the list, and people buy into my list in order for their flyers, their advertisements to be sent out to my list. And what I have now is I have an e-blast of 3,500 people. So if I have one of my contractors that I'm with is a fashion industry, so they're looking for models and stuff like that. And I told them I have models within my e-blast, so they buy into my e-blast in order for that flyer to be sent out to those type of people and stuff like that.
And how do your press releases work?
And my press release is more so of just a notarized note coming from like what you do, how it started, real short, simple pictures and stuff like that. And a press release is something that you would send to a more legit company or a more stable company or something like that, just to state that you are here and have a legit business or stuff like that.
When you mentioned kind of what you do on the website and everything, you had a list of other things that you are helping these up and coming companies do and things of that nature. this is a term that we hear used by a lot of people, but we very rarely see the end results of it. Strategic planning. I have strategically planned with, I'm gonna be honest with you, Corey. I've strategically planned with so many people I've lost count. And at the end, I couldn't tell you what some of the players were. Like, so for the person that's looking at Corey Smith, like, okay, here comes another one. Gotta help them ease the minds a little bit. Ease the minds.
Strategic planning, when I say that, it's more so of me helping others plan their business. Because like I said, a lot of people have so many great ideas. A lot of people have so many, of these things that really can change the world and how we look at the world. But they just don't know how to they don't know the steps to, execute the plan or even start. So through that, we're able to come up through a whole PowerPoint. We do a whole PowerPoint. We do a press release. We do a visual sheet, and just your vision, your mission plan, all of those type of aspects. What do you do? How it started? Where did it come from? And so if somebody was to ask you, what is your business? You have that. You have those type of platforms to speak for you, and you'll be able to send it out to them. One thing that I've learned from my brand is, it does not matter how many times you sit down and talk about your brand. There's so many things going on in this world that person is going to forget almost instantly about whatever you just talked about, unless it just truly captures their mind. But when you have something to hand them, or when you have something to email to them, they're able to look through those and look, okay, I remember talking to this young man, I remember talking to this young lady, and this is what she offered. Because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to call you. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to email and say such and such. Exactly what did you say? But when you send those type of PowerPoints, when you send those type of strategic plans out, and within those, we create 2 strategic plans. We create a short plan, and we create a long-term plan. So you're able to send them something out more so if they want something in depth. This is everything step by step. But if they want something real short, real sweet, you also send that. We also have something shorter for them to sit down and for them to read quicker.
As you get to know me, you're probably going to figure some things out about me. Like every time I tell a story, it always ends up Marvel comic books as the example, hip hop, or like football. Like everything has like a football reference or a boxing reference to it.
Right.
So I'm gonna give you like a hip hop reference. I listen to people talk about the greatest rapper of all time. We talk about this all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little older than you. The greatest rapper of all time to me will always be Rakim. And that's the name that doesn't come up a lot. The reason Rakim is the greatest rapper of all time is because whoever your favorite rapper is of all time, his favorite rapper of all time was Rakim. 50 Cent wanted to be Rakim. So did Tupac. So did LL. Okay. So did Biggie. So did Nas. All these people, when they started putting their rhyme schemes together, they looked at that guy and sat there and said, I need to do that.
Right.
So to me, whether his catalog wasn't as impressive as Jay-Z's, when you listen to Jay-Z, you hear Rakim. Mm-hmm. And whenever you create something, it's not always, but sometimes it's birthed out of something else, because we learn by following the examples of other people that we looked up to and things of that nature. So rappers sound like other rappers. Sometimes we can get pigeonholed in the Black community because we'll start throwing labels on Corry Smith that aren't appropriate, because we'll sit there and say, Corry Smith stuff remind me of, and that ain't even what you're doing.
Exactly.
So from your own words and from your own perspective, who inspires you? Like, is there somebody you looked at and said, then when you put Jay Smith together, you sat there and said, I'm looking at what this guy does a lot?
Honestly, I have inspirations. I have so many inspirations all over the place. That's not one specific pinpoint I would say like this person inspired me to do it. But moving to Houston, I moved to Houston. A lot of what I've seen, a lot of people placed labels on these high-end brands on like, you got to be rich to have this, you got to be rich to have this, you got to be rich to have this. But I noticed that you don't have to be rich to have nice things. You don't have to be. You don't have to have money. That's just literally labels we place of that. Like people that drive Teslas, we automatically say, "Oh, they must be rich," or "They must be," But that's not honestly how it all works. So when I started getting into I've always kind of been into name brand things and stuff. That's just me. So being able to walk into those stores and being able to, you gotta have. It makes you feel a certain type of way. It makes you feel like you're very confident. You're very, um, you just know what you want, honestly. So going into those type of stores, I said I wanted to create something like this. I want people to be able to purchase my items. I want people to be able to talk to me and be able to feel like they're confident in themselves, like they have meaning and vision behind themselves and stuff like that. Just like these name brand stores did for me, whether it's Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Prada, and stuff like that. And honestly, one of the people that really changed my whole entire, and I wouldn't say this is my inspiration, but she really captivated me in a way, was Lynn Whitfield, Lady May on Greenleaf. I had a literally almost 30 to 45-minute conversation with her. And we was just talking about life in general. Like, we were literally just sitting there talking. And it was not what she was saying that really changed my life, but it was the simple fact that I was able to realize that we all are people. Like, she's the same person I am. She's just she's on a different level, or she's gotten to, a stage in life to where she's at. And I can get there too at a point in my life and stuff like that. So leaving that event, I left with motivation behind that, because I was like, okay, I need to do some stuff that's going to get me there. And because I know I can do it, it's just what can I bring to the table? What do I have to bring to the table? So being able to just, know what you are placed on this earth to do, and know your vision and know your purpose, honestly, is just one of the keys to being successful in life. Because once you know your vision, once you know what you bring to the table, nobody will ever be able to diminish you. I've been able to be in the face of billionaires, and I had $50 in my pocket, but they would have never known. They would have thought I was one of them. But being able to, and I was able to do that because I had confidence in myself. I knew where I stood just in my life within the world, and just knowing that you'll be able to sit at the table with people that that are way higher than you, that are way had a social hierarchy than you. So yeah, I just take inspirations all over the place. Like I said, I look into people. I really analyze people when I meet them, and when I shake their hands, and just be able to, I like this about you. I like this about you. I like this about you. So let's combine all of this together and create something new. And that's how I live on a daily, honestly.
Self-awareness is important, and it sounds like you got a lot of it, and I mean that as a compliment. But self-awareness will keep you in check. It'll also serve as like little checkpoints.
Right.
So you can look at something and where you are, and you can determine whether or not you're ahead of schedule and things of that nature. And I'm always interested in everybody else's self-awareness. Like I look at people, like you look at college football programs that used to be good but still feel like they're elite, or you look at like electronics or name brands. Like, for instance, nothing is better than Sony as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
And Samsung figured that out. Samsung, though, was very self-aware, and they came out, and you probably don't remember this, when Samsung began getting established, they sat there and said, hey, we're not Sony. We're not going to tell you we Sony. We're not going to try to trick you into believing we Sony. But we're a little bit below Sony, but we also cost less money.
Right. We have something to offer.
So if you want something that's almost as good as Sony, we're not going to tell you we're good as Sony. Like, we're not going to tell you Pepsi's better than Coke, things of that nature. But if you want something just as good and you're going to spend a little less money on it, come to us. Right. Samsung took off. And I'm saying that not because I hear you say, like, you don't have to spend a lot of money and everything too. But I'm going to be honest with you, Corey, we want that check too, man.
Yeah.
We want that check too. So as far as being self-aware, I like where you're at now and everything too. But I also want to encourage you to continue, because I'm like, man, we need more of you, because I'm tired of watching our people make everybody else's stuff get hotter, and then they don't give us no money for it.
Right.
Like, we made Polo and Tommy Hilfiger. Even gin, Seagram's gin. When Snoop Dogg released Gin and Juice, the sales of Seagram's gin skyrocketed.
Right.
And I don't think Snoop got a check for that.
Yeah.
But I look at it, man, and I sit there and say, this brother's got something and everything stuff. So
no, I most definitely want a brand. Like I always tell myself, my brand will be on the second floor of the gallery mall. The second floor is where all the higher up brands like Gucci, Louis Vuitton.
Right.
I've always reached for the stars. Like I don't settle for anything. I always reach for the top.
So what's needed then? What does it take for us to go? And you're fine where you are. Nothing wrong with where you are right now. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But we still want more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a hashtag. We want more.
We want more.
But what do we need to do? What's next, and what do we got to do to keep elevating? And how can people help you?
I say support. Support goes a long way. A lot of people think we have to buy into things, we have to do this, we have to do that, but it does not take long to support anybody. Whether that's a share, whether that's a like, or anything. And not only that, but we have to stop talking about things and actually and put actions behind it, and stop following because a lot. I think our culture, and I noticed this when the George Floyd situation had happened, and the riots and stuff like that. We are some followers. We are some followers, and sometimes we act and don't even know why we're acting.
People are sheep, man.
Yeah, and it's crazy because a lot of people, the riots and stuff. Like I went to the Houston march, and I asked somebody, "What are you here for?" And they could not tell me what was going on.
Right.
And I'm like, so what are you screaming for? Are you saying the same thing they're saying, and you're doing the same thing they're doing, but you don't even know why you're doing it? And that's where we become that's where we make ourselves become in the wrong, because and that's when we don't have as much effect on these type of these type of prolations and stuff like that. That's when, so just being able to go into that, we have to do that. So it's a great it's I think we just have to come into that mindset of being able to like stop following, being able to know what you're here for and know your truth. And once we notice that, I think we'll be so much better people, and we'll be able to stand in our own truth. And now you won't have to won't have to stand behind anybody else's shadow, or won't have to stand in behind anybody else's identity. But you'll know your own identity and be able to stand in your truth and be able to, come together and be able to support each other and stay in your lane. Because we get in a lot of other these lanes and stuff, and it's not even for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to church last Sunday and stuff like that, and one of the pastors said, just because it's an entrepreneur season does not mean you're an entrepreneur. And I think that was one of the most things that I took away from that, because like not everybody's going to be an entrepreneur. It's okay to work. It's okay to work at a grocery store. It's okay to work at Walmart and be the best of sales associates that you can be, or be the best bus driver that you can be. But don't try to, make something happen that's really not meant for you to happen, because it'll never happen. So I think that's one of the lessons that we have to learn as a culture, and from there we'll be able to support each other, and we'll be able to rise amongst any other thing.
It's great advice, man. We used to always say too, with the thunderstorm, that black power is more than a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So think you and I are alike in that way and things of that nature. But
Right.
What's next? What's Corry Smith up to? You have any upcoming events, dates? What's the next plan or stage in the process?
Working on this media company. This media company is going to be big. I really think that's where most of my success and money is going to come from, media company and stuff like that. Because I love helping people. I love being able to brand people and take people to the next level. So that's pretty much what's next. Just helping other people get to their next level.
I'm gonna keep an eye out. I'm gonna be looking around because people are coming across me all the time and stuff. And I know a name now. Where I can sit there and say,
Mm-hmm.
This is who you need to talk to.
Yes, most definitely. Send them put them in contact with my website, and they'll be able to send whatever they need help in, and I'll be able to contact them, and we'll get something started.
It's great stuff, man. Anything else you need anybody to know? I feel like there's something I need to ask you that I'm leaving out and stuff. But I think we covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah, most definitely. Look, within the next year, I'll be hosting a So I was a part of this year. I was a part of not a part of. I went to the what was it? The top 50 professional entrepreneurs within the state of Texas. So within a year or so, I hope to be doing also a rendition of that, the Top 50 Millennial Entrepreneurs Awards. So
Now, were you with one of the 50?
oh no, I was not one of the 50, but I had.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming though. It's coming.
Yeah, look,
go ahead and speak that.
Coming. And that's
We're
why
gonna
I like
speak
going,
that.
that's why I like going to those type of events, because that's just like I was the only young person in there.
It's changing the mindset. You gotta put yourself in certain atmospheres and start thinking in that same vein.
I was literally the only young person in that building.
Yeah, you can't be broke and hang around people with broke people and say you want money. You gotta hang around some people with some money every once in a while.
Exactly, and then that's when I bring the whole festivities to us and be able to rise and stand beside them. So that's what I have planned. I really want to put on a nice show and being able to honor people all around Texas, and hopefully it'll turn out to a national thing to where I'll be able to honor and recognize upcoming people that are really doing big things and that are really changing the world in the aspects and mind of others.
We don't go into any interviews with any expectations, man. Normally, we don't even create any questions. We just have a conversation, and this has been a great conversation for me, man. Normally, sitting on this side, you feel like you kind of want to be a guide in some ways, or you feel like it's your job to teach, especially when you ask somebody a question, they give you the wrong answer. But
right.
It's been a pleasure and an honor to talk to you, man, because this is one of those times where I leave knowing a little bit more about things than I did when I came in. They say you should never leave somebody in a worse situation than when you came. They should always leave you better. And that's definitely how I'm leaving this conversation, man. This was great.
Definitely. I'm glad to hear that. Most definitely. I'm so glad. But I'm excited about this magazine to see where it's going to go, see where we can take it to. So, yes, I'm really excited. Hopefully, after this edition, we can bring in another edition. I can bring in a lot of more men that I know that are that have businesses and stuff like that.
No one will ever be able to say, except one person on this planet, that they were the first person on the cover of the Bam Guy magazine. Nobody's ever going to be able to say that except you. So
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I most definitely got to. I was thinking about. I said I got to put this on. I need a big picture of this because I need. This is something to remember, because I would have never thought at the age of 20 I'd be on a cover of a magazine.
It is what it is. First of many.
Yes.
Mr. Smith, I definitely appreciate it and everything. Give me your websites and everything so they can keep up with you.
Okay, so to purchase the cologne or see the cologne, it's going to be the djsmithcollection.com, and then my media website will be the jsmithmedia.com. So also my social medias is the official J.Smith on Twitter and Instagram. So if y'all want to follow me on Instagram or social media platforms, you can get in contact with me that way. But my email is right here if you're trying to get into it. Jacorrian, JACORRIAN.Smith1226 @gmail. You can get in contact with me that way. So I look forward to working with many of y'all and bringing y'all to the next level.
It's been an honor and a pleasure, man. I've learned about cologne. I've learned about strategic planning, and we figured it out again one more time that your favorite rapper's favorite rapper is Rakim.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a lot of fun here on Bam Guy Magazine, and you're looking at the cover guy. We figured out that was cool too. We appreciate y'all. God bless.